It's always been a handful of editors that determine what belongs on the front page of a newspaper or anywhere else. Now it's the entire, close to 1 million registered editors that we have that are constantly looking for great news information, stories, videos, and anything else to expose to the community.
What Dig is doing is it's saying a blog could be on the same plane as the New York Times. And it's up to the people to decide what's important.
Traditional media have watched the emergence of the two-way web. Their denizens have begun to wonder and even fret about the future of their industries and themselves. And among the most fretful have been my pals who work in places like this, in the world of professional journalism. For nothing epitomizes the democratizing tendencies of Web 2.0 more than that new form of expression we've come to know as blogging. All over the world, ordinary people are posting their thoughts, their rants, their expertise, and sometimes even their reporting on the web. Everyone has something to say, and suddenly anyone can be a citizen journalist. My reporter buddies aren't the only ones rattled by the rise of the two-way web, though. Their bosses, the publishers, are freaking out as well. Now, back in the day, and until very recently, newspaper publishers could kick back in their offices, comfortable in the knowledge that no matter whether the economy was up or down, they always had one reliable source of revenue: classified ads. But today, those same newspaper publishers aren't comfortable at all. Instead, they're trembling with fear every time one word gets mentioned. No, not internet, and not web. Instead, it's Craig. That's Craig as in Craigslist, one of the world's most popular websites, which acts as a kind of online notice board in 450 cities worldwide, complete with all the stuff you get in the classified section of any newspaper. Jobs, stuff for sale, stuff wanted, places to rent, places to buy, gigs, services, and of course, personals, many of them naughty. And the fact that its classifieds are free is why the newspaper publishers are in a tizzy. Considering the scale and global reach of Craigslist, surely the company behind it must occupy a vast and gleaming headquarters in the heart of Silicon Valley. And surely the man behind it all must be a rapacious billionaire, fierce and formidable and imposing. Or maybe not. Yep, here he is, Craig. Craig Newmark, to be precise, a cuddly, middle-aged ex-programmer who runs his free-to-use, free-to-post website out of this tiny San Francisco office, which was once his apartment. Like Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, the non-profit user-generated web encyclopedia, Newmark is living proof that the web is not just about making money. It's about setting communication free.
We share some values with pretty much everyone in America and maybe everyone in the world. The deal is that, well, once you make enough money to live comfortably and to provide for your future, what's the point in having more? These are just the values we all get out of Sunday school or whatever when we grow up, and we're just following through.
We're in an era when people are starting to realize that communities, self-supervising communities, can produce work of very high quality, whether that's open source software or something like Wikipedia. The openness, the transparency, that as long as you've got social rules in place that tend to encourage good work and to discourage bad things, the product that comes out is pretty good.
Actually, the quality of the information on Wikipedia isn't uniformly great. Because of its wide-open nature and the fact that it offers anonymity to anyone who wants to add, subtract, or edit the information in its entries, Wikipedia is vulnerable to abuse. Democratic operatives have added the words idiotic and racist to Rush Limbaugh's bio. And Republican operatives have changed the entry on the Iraq War to call it a liberation instead of an occupation. So maybe the best way to think about Wikipedia is that it contains 100 times more information than an old-fashioned encyclopedia, but it's only about 90% as accurate. Not a bad trade-off, all in all, so long as you recognize that while Wikipedia may be an invaluable resource, it shouldn't be taken as the last word, let alone as infallible. As Wikipedia and Craigslist demonstrate, and as we see all around cyberspace, the web belongs to us. It's given us a megaphone to shout our views, however sane or crazy, trivial or profound, to show off our creativity to friends, family, and to utter strangers, to access media the way we want and say anything we please.
What we're living through right now is the flow of power from a relatively small group of people to, in a sense, anyone who wants their little piece of power through the net.
We went through the The whole, .com bubble, when the internet started to seem like it might be all about pop-up ads and selling dog food and things like this, and then this kind of harkens back to an earlier era.
Now, anyone can get your attention, and that matters. There's problems with it, but this is a big, great wave of democracy.
Which is to say, the web is finally turning into what its originators always hoped for. Something that big business can never hope to control. The medium of the little guy. Don't believe me? Just ask the guy who invented it.
Originally, the idea of the web was that it would be a two-way thing, that I would be able to contribute, and the web, over the last decade, has missed that. We're returning to the idea of a read-write web. So the fact that it's a space in which people can write a blog and contribute to a wiki is really exciting for me, because they bring back the common person as the author.
Where all the strands of Web 2.0 come together is in the new world of social networking, which was born in the wake of the dot-com crash. First came Friendster, a glorified dating site that rose and fell quickly, but that was followed by MySpace, founded in mid-2003 by two LA hipsters, Chris DeWolf and Tom Anderson.
The MySpace page is very similar to a person's bedroom or potentially their apartment, whereby on their MySpace page there's different colors, there's music playing in the background, there's photos of your friends up, and it's very similar to what you may have in your bedroom or your apartment. It gives you this real insight into someone that ordinarily you wouldn't have.
The reason why you spend so much time communicating with your friends, right, and other people that you respect is because their opinions and what they say actually means a lot to you. So what we've tried to do at Facebook is we've tried to map out all of these relationships that people have. So it started off pretty small, right? I mean, we threw together the first version of the product in just a week and a half. 2/3 of Harvard students were using it within a couple of weeks, right? And then all these other students from schools around Harvard started emailing us and saying, okay, well, can you open a version of Facebook at our school? And we just quickly expanded it as fast as we could. Right? And then we expanded to all the colleges in the US, and then all the high schools, and then a lot of companies, and then we made it so that anyone can sign up. And then since then it's grown from about 10 million active users to maybe 50, and it's still growing at this rate where it doubles every 6 months.
This story might sound familiar, and in a way it is. Boy creates software in college dorm room. Software catches on, takes the web by storm. Boy moves out to Silicon Valley, climbs into bed with venture capitalists. Boy winds up on the cover of Fortune and makes so much money that you can't help but kind of hate him. But Mark Zuckerberg isn't just your typical Valley boy. What sets him apart is the sheer, ungodly, nearly incomprehensible scale of his ambition. It's the kind of ambition that reminds you of a young Bill Gates, who set out with the goal of putting a PC on every desktop in every home and office in the world, all of them running Microsoft software. Or the Google guys, whose goal is to organize and make accessible all the world's information via Google. In Zuckerberg's case, the grand ambition is to create a service that captures the totality of human connectedness. To create, I guess you'd say, the ultimate relationship engine. About a year ago, I happened to share a cross-country flight with Arthur Sulzberger, the chairman and publisher of the New York Times, and Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg arrived about 20 minutes late to the New York Times jet, no less, wearing a pair of gym shorts and flip-flops. Listening to him and Sulzberger talk about the future of media was like overhearing a conversation between a Martian and a fungo bat. When the flight was over, Sulzberger asked me what I thought of Zuckerberg, and I said I thought he was smart but young. Sulzberger replied, yeah, smart, but really young, and really, really lucky. He said he was just the flavor of the month. A year later, the New York Times' share price and profits were falling through the floor, and the company was conceding that its web strategy was a total mess. Meanwhile, Facebook was growing like gangbusters, getting ready for what was sure to be a multi-billion-dollar IPO, and looking, quite possibly, like the next Google. One day, you've never heard of them, and the next they're everywhere. In our homes, at our offices, on our kids' laptops, and let's be honest, on our own too. But the truth is, Facebook and YouTube and MySpace and Dig didn't come out of nowhere. They're the direct descendants of another crop of media revolutionaries who hit the scene an eternity ago in high-tech terms, by which I mean, a little less than a decade ago.